She's right there. I would like to reconvene the open session and call it to order. Pledge of Allegiance. Trustee Zia, would you like to lead the Pledge of Allegiance?
It'll be my pleasure.
Please rise, place your right hand on your heart, and begin. I to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, Madam Secretary.
Virginia Baxter.
Here.
Vivian Malaulu.
Here.
Doug Otto. And Sunny Zia.
Here.
Okay, I'm going to report out on the closed session issues. In closed session this afternoon, the board voted to offer Reagan F. Romali the position of Superintendent President, subject to mutual agreement on an employment contract. The vote was unanimous with Member Kellogg absent. I'm very proud of how the board has come together for LBCC tonight. I want to acknowledge how the community engaged and participated throughout the process and thank the selection committee and all those who gave input. Once this final step is completed, it will be time to set the table to welcome Dr. Romali. Does anyone else have something to say? Trustee Malaulu?
Sure. I am personally very pleased that Dr. Reagan Romali is our unanimous choice to be on our board, understanding that Trustee Kellogg is not here, for her to serve as our next superintendent president. Her vast experience working in multiple institutions in California, her experience in Texas, and her international experience will serve our very diverse and very unique student population very well. I am confident. Her energy and her enthusiasm is definitely contagious, and I'm confident that she will build on what we have already achieved, and I believe that she will be able to unify our college and take us to the next level.
Thank you. Trustee Otto, would you like to say something?
Sure. This has been a long, difficult process to get to this conclusion, and I think we are all very excited that it has been completed and that we have a new superintendent president, and it all remains to be seen how this will go forward. I'm very optimistic that Dr. Romali, who is from California and has experience in California, will be able to lead us into the future. There's a lot of hard work to do, not the least of which is getting this board to work together, and I'm looking forward to helping do that. Thanks.
Okay, Trustee Zia?
Yes, thank you, President Baxter. I have to say I'm very delighted. I'm excited. I want to thank the community, including our faculty, classified staff, all the participants. This is really the community's college. We heard you loud and clear. We appreciate your participation. And I know that all of us, we've worked very hard and conscientiously to make sure it's an equitable process and it's also fair and transparent one. I, for one, am very particular about that, and I know my colleagues share that, and this is a demonstration of it, and I'm proud that all of us have come together, and I really look forward to working with our future president. Glad to select someone of the people that will be working for the people, and I look forward to working closely with Dr. Reagan Romali and introducing her to our community. Thank you, Dr. Baxter.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to publicly thank Anne-Marie Gable for her service, which is not over yet, but she has done, I think, an excellent job at representing the college whenever asked to attend, and I want to thank her, and also Dr. Betty Miller for filling in, so thank you very much. And the whole executive team, I know we're going to do great work together.
Dr. Baxter, can I just dovetail on that? I too wanted to echo your remarks about Anne Marie, our interim president. We did it. I think we were all united, and it was just a true pleasure having you, Anne Marie, fill in. You really did a great job. We're proud of you. You personally have inspired me in many ways, and I really appreciate the service you bring to the table and have done for the college district, and brought it back to the students. That's really key. Thank you.
Okay, approval of minutes of February 28th.
So
We
moved.
need an action, so
So moved.
moved by trustee Zia,
Second.
seconded by trustee Otto. Is there any discussion? Okay, please call the roll.
Virginia Baxter.
Aye.
Excuse me, hold on. Vivian Malauulu,
Aye.
Doug Otto,
Aye.
and Sunny Zia.
Aye. Sorry.
And then we have approval of the minutes of our special meetings of February 25th, March 13th, March 14th, and March 22nd.
So moved.
Moved by trustee Zia.
Point of order, do we have to do those individually, or can we do those all at
You're
once?
doing it, they're just all agenda items. There's no action, no.
Did you second it, trustee Otto?
Yes.
Okay. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Virginia Baxter.
Aye.
Vivian Malauulu,
Aye.
Doug Otto,
Aye.
and Sunny Zia.
Aye.
Okay, next action is each year, the Board of Trustees, via the president, nominates people to serve on the California Community College Trustees Board. And there will be a election, and we are sending in our names. And so these are the people who have been
Excuse me,
suggested.
Dr.
for-
Baxter,
Yes.
you're on the wrong agenda item. You should be on 2.7, introductions and special
Oh, sorry.
announcements.
I turned the page, sorry. Okay, well, you'll hear about that later. Okay, 2.7, special announcements. Superintendent President Gable?
None at this time.
Okay, 2.8, reordering the agenda. Does anyone wish to reorder the agenda? Okay, hearing none. Oh, Eric, 2.9, ASB President's Report. I want to compliment Eric on his excellent job of introducing Congressman Alan Lowenthal a couple weeks ago, and thank you for coming and doing that, Eric.
Thank you. Good evening, board members, vice presidents, and acting President Gable. It's full steam ahead for the ASB and student life through the rest of the semester. We hosted a successful Beverly O'Neill conference this last Friday, welcoming Mayor O'Neill and 120 LBCC students. We were happy to work in partnership with the president's ambassadors and are thankful for faculty members Samira Habash, Brennan Carr, Deborah Peterson, and Kashara Moore, who helped to facilitate the workshop sessions. Once we return from spring break, after next week, Student Life will be involved in the effort to support Sexual Assault Awareness Month. So that'll be really great. We'll keep you guys posted with all the events that we're going to host on campus. Hopefully we see you there. The Sustainability Fair on April 20th and Mini Grand Prix on Saturday, April 22nd at PCC, as well as much more. Student leaders are currently looking to recruit their potential replacements for next year as applications for elected positions are open. And we hope you guys have a wonderful spring break, and thank you.
Okay, thank you, Eric. I should say to the audience and to the board and to the vice presidents that we did not finish the closed session agenda, and so we will be going back into closed session after the open meeting. Thank you, Secretary Hahn. And thank you, Eric. Okay, public comments on 2.1, public comments on agenda items. There are no public comments cards up here. We have two for non-agenda, which we will take later. Okay, then here we are at 3.1, CCCT election of our representatives. And I will read the names of the people who will be, our ballot will be forwarded to Sacramento. Our nominees are Marisa Perez, Cerritos Community College District, Greg Pensa, Allen Hancock Community College District, Stephen Blum, Ventura Community College District, Laura Casas, Foothill De Anza Community College District, Stephen Castellanos, San Joaquin Delta Community College District, Adrian Gray, West Valley Mission Community College District, Andra Hoffman, Los Angeles Community College District, Pam Hayes, Los Rios Community College District, Jim Marino, Coast Community College District. And those are the nominees.
Right.
And is this an action item?
Yes, it is.
Yes, okay. May I ask for a
So
motion?
moved.
Second.
Okay. Trustee Zia, was that you?
Yes.
Okay. So it was moved by Trustee Zia, seconded by Trustee Otto. Call for the roll, please.
Virginia Baxter,
Aye?
Vivian Malauulu,
Aye.
Doug Otto,
Aye.
and Sunny Zia.
Are we not going to have discussion on this before we vote?
I should have asked for a
Yeah,
discussion before we voted.
Is it okay to say a few words?
Sure.
We've taken a vote, but I just wanted to thank you, President Baxter, for nominating these folks. I personally know 3 of them. Marissa Perez is our mutual acquaintance and colleague, and Andra Hoffman, and also Jim Marino, outstanding colleagues, and I think they'll do a fine job. So thank you for the recommendation, and I obviously have voted to approve this.
Thank you. Okay, 4.1, presentation, strong workforce and career technical education programs. Molly Smith?
May I introduce our presenters?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, go ahead.
Okay. It is my pleasure to introduce our 2 presenters of Strong Workforce and Career Technical Education Update for this evening. We have Brennan Carr, Assistant Professor of Business Administration and Economics, and Molly Smith, Dean of Career Technical Education, who will do the presentation. So please join us at the podium.
Your friend.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing us to present this update on the Strong Workforce Task Force work that we have been doing. It's my honor. My name is Brennan Carr, and I'm here with Molly Smith. We're here to provide some information regarding the program that we're working on and how we're moving forward in the future with that. To begin, I'd like to recognize a strong team of individuals who have worked with us, been working with us on this program, not only faculty and deans, but many outstanding people who are working with us, including people who are part of academic affairs, the student support services area, as well as workforce development. Without their help in this, without their assistance, this program wouldn't be as successful as it is, and we're excited to continue to work together with these folks moving forward. This next slide talks about the data that's come out of the Chancellor's Office as well as from the California Budget Project. According to the California Budget Project, you'll see here on the left side of the slide that in order for a sustainable wage for a family of 4, including 2 parents and 2 children with 1 working adult parent, the sustainable wage is in the area of just under $61,000 a year. The Chancellor's Office has put together some information through Survey Surfer that indicates that students who graduate with an AA degree in general education 5 years after graduation make on average $38,500 per year, whereas those students who graduate with an AA in CTE education, current technical education areas, 5 years after graduation are making on average $66,000 per year, above the sustainable wage rate that the California Budget Project has projected out. So it's important to recognize that these numbers help our students with their wage rates as well as opportunities for employment. The next slide is research that was done from the Georgetown University Center on Education in the Workforce from June 2013. On this slide, it covers a 10-year area of 2015 through 2025, broken up into 3 specific areas. The blue area at the bottom indicates the job openings in California by education level. The blue area is high school a diploma or less. The area above, at the very top, the green area, 35% indicates the jobs that will be required to have a bachelor's degree or higher. And the middle area, the 30% area in yellow, is the area that we're focusing on, the 1.9 million job openings in California for this 10-year period. And this is the area, this is the gap that Strong Workforce Task Force, this program addresses with middle skill jobs. So it's important that we're addressing this and the amount of jobs that are available in California through 2025. The program was allocated $200 million through Governor Brown and the state legislature with the motto of more and better, the idea that we are creating career and technical education programs more and better. So our focus is on increasing the quantity of CTE programs as well as increasing the quality of our CTE programs here at LBCC with the goal of creating courses, programs, pathways, credentials, certificates, and degrees that are aligned, closely aligned with the labor market demand. So aligning the CTE programs with what the market will bear and closing the employment gaps is our goal here. So more and better, higher quantity, higher quality CTE programs here at LBCC. In terms of the flow of funds, it was broken up 60% local shares and 40% regional shares. Molly will be covering the regional shares. But as you may already know from previous presentations, that the 60% of local shares equates to $1.7 million for Long Beach City College and our CTE programs here each year. So Molly will provide additional information regarding the regional shares, and I'm going to turn some time over to her now to carry on with the presentation.
Good evening. It's a pleasure to be here this evening and give you an update on the CTE area. The first thing we want to do is we want to share just a little bit of data with you. First of all, this is 15-16 data, and CTE students represent about 24% of our population. When you look at the next slide here, we're about a little over about 54%, a little over half male. And the demographics of the area pretty much match the general population of Long Beach City College students. A little bit less than Hispanic students and a little bit more white students than the general population. The majority of our students, as you can see right here, how they're distributed, 30% are younger than 19, 35% are 20 to 24, and if you look at the rest of the population, so that means about 75% of our students are under 30. So that gives us, when I looked at this, I thought that gives us an opportunity between 30 and 50 as to how can we serve that population of students and what is it they need. They may not need traditionally what we're offering, so that's something that piqued my interest. Now we're going to look at the enrollments and completions, and you have two handouts. One is CTE course FTES, and the other one is total CTE awards. So this slide shows you the FTES for CTE and non-CTE for the last 3 years. And as you can see, there's been a 1% decrease each year, which is not significant. But we needed to make a projection with the Strong Workforce, and we projected 2% out for the next 2 years, which we think is easily achievable. We're working on several different efforts, which I'll share with you in just a minute. These are the CTE degrees as compared to the non-CTE degrees, and what's interesting to look at here, I think, is students are about 24% of the population, so 1/4% of the population, but the average over the last 3 years is they're about 53%. So it's ranged from 49% to 59%. So the CTE area is experiencing the largest number of awards. Now these are the CTE certificates those were associate degrees. These are the CTE certificates by type. So the very light blue on there, one thing to notice there is that there were a significant number of them in 13, 14, and then there was a significant drop. So that's problematic, and that's something that we need to look at. And the big issue there is there's no system for capturing these. So we're working with IE on these 3 bands right here to see what the difference is, but there is no automatic system, so that means that I know that some departments have hired people to be able to capture those and make sure that they get into systems, so it's a manual process. It's not an automatic process. And everything we do needs to become automatic so that we make sure we capture. So that's something we're looking at. If you look at the certificate 16 to 17 units, you can see that those are gradually going up, so that's a good thing. And then there was a significant drop between 13, 14 and 14, 15, and then now it started to grow again. So we're looking at the very light blue and the dark blue, the 18 plus. But that is something that we need to think of as an institution is, our process for capturing certificates and awards is a manual process. The student has to fill out an application by paper. They have to carry it over. They have to stand in a line and all of that. So all those places have leakages in them. So those are some things for us to think about that will be an opportunity, and it will be important for us to capture those in the future, especially with regard to the strong workforce, and make sure that they're aligned with the labor market.
Let me spend a moment to address on the local plan for strong workforce. This slide covers some of the areas that we funded for this first round, this first year. We had 2 funding options that we were looking at. One addressed the sustainable wage issues, and the other is looking at funding that addressed the employment gap issues, and we chose to pursue funding that addresses employment gaps. We opened the process in an application process for faculty to present an application to us for funding that was pretty detailed, and from the applications that were sent in, some of the programs that were funded are listed here on this screen. Let me give you some examples that are included here. Allied Health and Nursing, for example, are looking to create a stackable certificate program in the area, as well as creating a bridge program between the VN, LVN, and RN nursing areas. Culinary arts, another area that has been funded through Strong Workforce, looking to use the funding provided to provide stronger outreach to local high schools, as well as faculty advising for both beginning and advanced students in their programs. And another example is Computer and Office Studies, where they are working at putting together new programs around web development, database management, and information security.
Well, this is the area that I find very exciting, and I want to say that we have been working on this since, the spring, and I really feel as if we've, moved forward rather significantly of lately. A lot of things have come together. People have started to talk. People have come up with ideas on how we can work together and what we can work on to really get more students in the enrollments, not only for the programs and the students, but for the institution. And so we came up, as Brendan just shared with you, we came up with several programs. We could either fund based on a gap, which means there was a gap in between the number of students who received awards, who could populate hiring pools, and the number of employment openings within the region. So we could do that, or we could put out an application for a high wage, sustainable wage, and we decided to go with the gap, and the programs that you saw are the ones that responded. But we also did a lot of strategic planning around what can we do to support faculty and programs and students to get more students in and get more students through to achievement and their awards and get employed, because the ultimate goal is award and wage gain. And we also examined the department plans that came out, and these are what we call the overarching strategies that came out that we are part of our plan and that we're funding. And there is a relationship of sense of urgency and size of font So, of course, the core and the center is curriculum alignment. That's the center of everything we do, working with the faculty, making sure that the program that we offer is the knowledge, skills, and abilities that aligns with the labor market, and that's packaged in the right way, that a student needs to take the number of units that they need, and then they can get employed, they can come back and take more. So that's really the center of what we do. We are supporting faculty to be able to do that. For example, the Allied Health to Nursing pathway is going to work together. We're going to fund them to work together as a large group to not only make it seamless in between, how can students come in and go into higher pathways, but also find out where there are gaps in those linkages for those programs. So that's an example of that. Dual enrollment is critical. I know a lot of colleges that are over cap right now have taken a significant advantage of not only adult education, non-credit, but dual enrollment, and that has enabled them to bring in a lot more students into the college. So we're working with student services, and we also have receiving regional money to hire a full-time faculty member who can support this as well. Industry engagement, we're working with CADE. They already do job development, job placement, and they are already out in the community engaging with industry. So that's something where we can leverage resources and not create something new. Professional development, we're very excited. We're going to provide the opportunity to every career technical education faculty member to attend a professional development, pay their travel and a stipend as well for them to go and attend something to upgrade their pedagogy skills or their content skills, or go and work in an externship. So the other is data analysis. We've been working with IE, and they've been creating through their new software program they have data packages for each discipline. And we've convened faculty together as a discipline, so they can look at and see where are your enrollments. Are they increasing? Are they decreasing with regard to equity? Who are you getting in? Who do you need to get in with regard to our demographics? Where are you awarding certificates? What courses are losing? So we're really examining the data to help them make informed decisions about what they want to do to improve their programs. And then faculty advising. For example, we're also working on a model to try to decide how to provide that time and space for faculty while they're in their program to be able to advise students, because most of our programs don't have cohorts. Nursing has a cohort, so they have a sequestered group of students. Most of our students come in at multiple different entry points, so there's not a collection of them somewhere where you can counsel and give out information. So we want to try to engage them more so that we can, keep them and help them succeed. Brendan showed a slide earlier where there was a 60% to the colleges and 40% to the region. And there are several regional projects that will benefit all 19 colleges in the LA region. And on the right-hand side, you'll see those three. So we will be part of those. The Los Angeles Workforce Education Center Research Project is very simple to, if you know, I know Luann does, the Georgetown Center for Education and the Workforce. So they're going to try to create something like that for the LA Basin, so to work on data and employment and statistics, so we'll have our own data. Regional Internship and Jobs Academy, and then regional marketing strategy. So they're going to have a regional marketing strategy as well. And then on the left side, there are many projects that we're already involved in the region that had state funding, and so those have been, the region voted, and Anne Marie, approved it, which projects did the region want to continue to work on. And then LBCC, is going to participate in the ones on the left. So the one on the left, the first one is the one that's going to be dual enrollment, professional development, curriculum alignment, CT readiness, non-credit boot camp, entrepreneurial mindset. The second one's Mount SAC. The next two are Southwest, global trade and logistics, Southwest LA, and then the LA, East LA is the bottom one. So we will receive funding on all of those projects to work with our curriculum here as well. All right, questions?
I have two one comment and one question. First, I want to thank you, Dean Smith, and Brendan Carr for chairing this committee, and also all the people who are on this committee, because it's really vital, and I feel very, very important that we increase our enrollment in CT, and we're going in that direction. One question that I had is, now that we have Major Declaration Day, has anyone thought about collecting those people who make that major declaration and contacting them and starting cohorts, in maybe even in an informal manner? I just thought of this. I don't mean to blindside
I'll answer
people.
your question. We've done Major Declaration Day now for 2 years, and it's an effort that involves the academics, academic disciplines as well as student services. So when students are declaring their major and they do it in other areas, even outside of the Major Declaration Day, they're doing it in their gateway courses and so forth, that automatically goes into the student service area. And also, we now know, because of information and data from Institutional Effectiveness, who has declared the major, and many of our disciplines are forming discipline-specific clubs and cohorts and working with them and corresponding with our students that way.
Fantastic, that's great. Anyone else?
I have a question.
Trustee Otto, did you have one? Yeah. Yeah, I'll go to you next, Trustee Zia.
So could you put this in context in this way? We know that there was a statewide task force, Strong Workforce Task Force. Could you say a little something about that, and if this grew out of that in some way? Is the community college system focusing more on career technical education, and if so, why, and how we're participating in that?
Yeah, this grew directly out of the state task force. So the first thing that happened was the CCC-AOE, the Professional Organization for Occupational Educators, sponsored ACR 119, Continuing Resolution 119, and that was Merit Sachi. And the question was, to the Board of Governors, please bring forward 3 different funding models for career technical education. Because around the state it's getting disproportionately cut, you have a budget downfall, and expensive programs are cut, which has not served the state. And then as you start to grow, it's hard to bring those back very quickly. So there was a task force convened that was about 50% business and industry from around the state and organizations, and probably about 25% inside, people, chancellor's office and such, and 25% faculty. And so there were several different areas that we were asked to examine, and so we went through the process of meeting several times, and out of that came recommendations. There were 25 of them, and from the 25 recommendations that were approved by the Board of Governors, then last year there was the $200 million strong workforce money and the guidelines. And the guidelines that have come down have actually been not very restrictive, but the outcomes are very restrictive. So this is really the first, what is it, nose under the tent, toe under the tent? Nose under the tent, I think it is. Nose under the tent for performance-based funding.
And I know that our own Lynn Shaw was a very important part of that task force, and
It was one of the tri-chairs.
right, and so we had good representation early on about what was happening, and it's it seems that we've embraced this and the recommendations of the task force completely, and we're trying to work through how to get this done.
Trustee Otto, Molly Smith was also on the task force.
You said, is this a sign that the state's, looking at the importance of CTE? Yes, it's an economic imperative now. We do not have, that one slide that Brendan showed, we don't have enough students coming out. So there's a misalignment between what we're offering in the community colleges and what we need in the business community. So this is to bridge that gap.
Okay, Trustee Zia?
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. I have quite a bit of questions. One particularly on I believe it's the CTE courses that you have, the list of the courses. I'm having trouble with my computer right now, but can you help me understand, just before that, actually, President Baxter and I have scholarships, as you are very well aware of, for homeless students and ESL students. And we just recently went through an interview process, and almost 5 out of the 7, if I'm not mistaken, students that were recommended were from the CTE group, and almost unanimously they said that their classes were canceled, and this was on automotive technology. And one of them in particular directly, this is direct information we're getting from the students, said he waited like 5 semesters. And then we wonder, why can't we get these students to graduate? So I'd like to have an understanding of why that is, why we keep canceling these classes. And then in this particular case, it was 5 times. Yeah, that's what we heard from the students. And I'm just relaying that to you, and I'd like to understand why that is. And then I'll get to the specifics on these courses. So maybe you can enlighten us.
May I clarify? It was the electrical, in alternative fuels, the electrical component to work on electric cars and buses.
That was one of them. The other one was automotive technology.
So, we canceled about 344 sections of classes this spring. That it is more than we have ever done, at least since I've been here, since 2014. Enrollments are significantly down. We have not done that kind of cancellation across the campus, at least in the last 3 years. But as far as the automotive technology classes, yes, a lot of our CTE programs had cancellations. I think that when we look at the enrollments, and we have a report for this, the average class size of the classes we canceled this spring was 7 students in each class. So it wasn't that these were, I know that what happened? I know that we did cancel. I don't feel like it's on now. I know that we did cancel, sorry. We did cancel some classes that were in between 15 and 18, but most of the classes we canceled were very low enrolled. So yes, this semester was an anomaly, and we're gathering the data to find out why we didn't have the students return from fall to spring. But we have not done that across the board. I mean, in the fall we had automotive classes. We didn't have ATT classes in the fall because, as you know, we had one of our full-time faculty retire, and as a result, we took a little break in that in the fall, but we are looking at part-time faculty to come back and teach those classes last 8 weeks of the spring.
Oh, you are?
Well, one of the students said that there was about 25 students in this one particular class, but you guys couldn't find a faculty member. And I just get a sense that it doesn't give me comfort to hear these points, and I would appreciate it if we can give a little bit more care and consideration in this regard. I'm certain that you are working on that, but I'm going to keep monitoring this, and I'm going to keep pressing you to deliver, because this is an area that directly impacts our community, and as you reported yourself, it impacts good, high-skilled workforce. As far as the courses goes, I'm looking at the list of courses. I see quite a significant drop in carpentry from 2014-15 to 2015 to 16. Can you help me understand why that is? Why we're not offering these courses? That goes.
President Gable, these are questions on enrollment and not on the CTE strong workforce, but Trustee Zia, I'm happy to, I can tell you as far as automotive goes, we don't have an automotive program. We have some automotive courses, but we don't have a program, no degree, no certificate for our students to earn. Automotive is actually one of the areas where there are more completers in our region than there are jobs, so it doesn't even qualify for strong workforce funding. So that is why we aren't identifying that as a gap, if you will. If there were more jobs in automotive than there were completers, that would be one of the ones that we would be looking at. So when you see the list that we created for you, those are the areas in our local area where there are more jobs than we have completers in the community colleges around us. Automotive is oversaturated, and therefore we are not looking at that program. We don't have a program. We don't have a program in automotive, period. We have nothing to offer the students when they complete the courses.
My
If I
quest-
may ask-
I'm sorry, but I don't believe my question was answered. My question was on carpentry, and I still have the floor. Can I just finish my questions, if you don't mind, President Baxter?
No, I just wanted to clarify something she said, but I'll
Yeah.
wait.
As far as I wasn't specifically referring to the automotive technology as a degree. They were the students were referring to classes. That's what I was getting to, and I wanted to get an answer on that. And I'll continue to scrutinize this on the carpentry. I just want to have an understanding why we're offering almost half the courses that we did in 2014-15.
So, Trustee Zia, can I just have you clarify which report are you looking at?
It's on the 4.1 under summary. It's also on the handout.
Right, so the handout, is the handout at the top of the handout CTE course FTES, or
Yeah.
is it? Okay.
Yeah, that's the one.
So what that report is showing is the number of FTES that were generated in each of those disciplines by fiscal year. So for carpentry, in 13-14, it generated 32 FTES. In 14-15, it generated 37 FTES, and then in 15-16, it generated 24 FTES. So is your question, why did the FTES decrease?
Right. What are we doing to increase the FTES in these disciplines?
And I know one of the things that we tried this fall semester was to offer those courses at night, because we did see that they were decreasing, and after talking with some of the students, the decision was made to move the classes at night to see if that would generate more FTES. So we don't have the numbers to see if that worked, but that was something that we acknowledged, and it was a strategy that we were trying to do
Right.
to see if we can increase the numbers.
Okay, so we don't have that. When will we have that data, the tested data?
We offered those classes in the fall at night,
Okay.
and they started to fill. And then the faculty member asked to have them move back to the day, which we did, and they do not fill. Those classes only fill on evenings, and Fridays and Saturdays when people want to come, because the LA Basin is really dominated in carpentry by the trades. So we're going to have to figure out something for that program. So we have scheduled those classes, and they don't fill. That's why you see a drop in the
I see.
FTES.
Okay, well, I appreciate the explanation, and thank you for the clarification, President Gable. On the vocational ESL, I see nothing. What happened there? Vocational courses is just blank under vocational ESL. It's just, is that it?
It is a course that's no longer being offered, therefore no longer generating FTS. So these are individual courses. The vocational ESL, it was a VESL course, and it's no longer in the catalog, so no longer being offered, so therefore no longer collecting any FTS for us. The ESL program, however, has been working very, very good on creating some non-credit certificates. You approved those, I believe, in November of last year, and so those non-credit certificates are building on proficiency skills for our ESL students, and those will be active beginning in the fall. So
Okay.
they're going to the Chancellor's office and have been to the Chancellor's office.
So where is the ESL program on these sheets?
ESL is not CTE, so this is all CTE
Okay, I
courses.
gotcha.
So
I gotcha.
ESL
So-
would show up on the non-CTE.
I
yes.
gotcha. And then you spoke about the job industry analysis, and just as a general, for my own edification and perhaps for the public's information, how do we reach out to industry? Because I constantly get this input from industry that we don't hear from you guys. We'd love to have input, and I know you guys are reaching out. I know you're, but is it a specific sector? Are we just doing analysis in these domains of the LA region? How are you reaching out to these local businesses or perhaps our small business development center?
Well, the Small Business Development Center, I can't actually answer, maybe Luann can, but actually, that's an excellent question, and we've gotten a lot more sophisticated. And if you remember on that one slide I had up there where I have industry engagement, this is something that Luann's area does, and so we want to leverage resources with them. Now, we have a variation of programs that are engaged with business and industry on a greater degree and a lesser degree. For example, COS has a very large, robust advisory, and they have lots of contacts. Culinary, I can tell you right now, is making a real concerted effort to expand theirs. For example, they went out and met with Disney. So that's going on campus, and we want to provide them support to do that. But then also in the region, there's discussion in the region, especially for programs where there's a larger scale, where the region can help. We have people who are paid, they're called sector navigators, based on an industry sector, who can help us with contacts. For example, we want to look into a heavy-duty program in the automotive area, and that's something that is really, it's a niche in the port, and that's something that nobody else could really serve. So we're really working on expanding that. It's really kind of a foundation of the Strong Workforce, is that what you offer really needs to be founded in what the business and industry need. And you know, the policy here with regard to advisories is that the Vice President of Academic Affairs needs to, you know, look at your advisory committee and say, yes, that is comprehensive and touches, you know, a large range of the region. So that's something that we're working on. And some have larger ones and are really engaged, and some aren't, maybe because of time and whatever, but that's support that we're going to give as well.
Do you have numbers on the jobs as far as placement of our students? Do we have statistics that demonstrate how successful we have been? As I'm assuming this is not our first time tracking students.
Well, you know,
placement.
that's a very good question as well, and that's something, you know, that's really kind of is the evidence of how we're doing, right? Because, you know, for years we've had programs and we hope students get jobs, but now the analysis is going to be not this year, but probably next year. We're going to start looking at, did students get placed in jobs, and then they're going to look at wage gain. So that's what we're going to be looking at. We don't have that yet, but we're working toward that, and there's tools being developed at the state, and so we will have that. That too needs to become automatic, because faculty nor administrators have time to follow up on students and find where they went. So that's all coming, and you know, in a couple of years for sure, you're going to be able to see what that data looks like. And we did get money this year from the state to clean up our data. And that slide up there where I showed you the certificates, where there was a lot of variation, I bet you that has something to do with coding as well. So we just got money, and we really worked on our top codes and our data this last year. So all this is being supported at the state level, so we'll be able to look and see, you know, you're putting an investment in this program, are students actually getting jobs, and then are they actually having a wage gain?
Right, and the other thing that I'm certain you're already working with our workforce development group in getting the message out that we have these pre-apprenticeship program for construction jobs. I noticed that a lot of our students were unaware, at least from my encounters with them, that we have such a program. I don't know if you're working hand in hand with our workforce development folks. I keep giving Melissa and Fusino's phone number to students. I think she's probably overwhelmed by how many students I've sent her way. But is there a nexus or a direct partnership that you guys are creating as part of this overarching strategies theme?
In particular for the pre-apprenticeship?
Right, and then and how it's affecting the workforce development and job placement of our students. Are you working with them, or is it completely in its own silo?
No, as I said previously, under the industry engagement, you know, they already do job development and job placement. So that's something we want to take resources from Strong Workforce, and we're working out the logistics of it right now, and leverage those resources because they already do that, and that's something that we want to support on the campus. So we're working with with Luann's area on that. With regard to the pre-apprenticeship, I don't know a lot about it. I do know we did just get another grant to be able to expand that, and that's about all I can say about it, because the rest I just have to make up, so.
Trustee Zia, I might be able to answer a little bit of that, and it'll help explain it. So the work that we do in workforce development typically is not for credit. And so the wonderful thing about the Strong Workforce Program is it is building a platform and strategies and capacity at the college to do a better job of connecting our career technical education programs that are credit-based with business and industry, and also working with us to use us as a bridge to get students into the program. So for example, the pre-apprenticeship program that we have has about an 85% placement for the program. We have about a third of those students that go into our credit programs here at the college. Our partners are the trades. We're working with the trades. They have signed an MOU with us, and they've done a very good job of helping us to do outreach to their partners as well, and that's a multiplier effect for us in that program. Another example would be the Port of Long Beach just recently got a California Energy Commission grant. Long Beach City College has written into that to be a convener for industry partners to come to the table to look at workforce training jobs that are related to renewable energies, alternative fuels, and that kind of thing. So, you know, we have different tentacles, so to speak, and what we try to do is make sure that those tentacles make the connection not only to us, but also to our credit programs. And if there is an interest in a pathway that we can develop, then that's the idea, is to be able to do that.
Okay, so in your work, are you working with the unions, the trades, and the industry engagement?
Yes, we do work with the industry. Yes, we do. Do we work directly with the trades? No, not in, when I was at Palomar, we had programs that were directly, the apprenticeship programs worked directly with the trades. I don't have anything like that under my purview now. But
So maybe
Nice
if I
to-
could, if I can just maybe clarify another item. When we first looked at doing the pre-apprenticeship program, there was an interest in trying to make it a credit-based program right out of the gate, but that was really hard to do. So the idea was to run it through workforce development, test it out, test the program, make sure that it's working okay, make sure that the outreach is going okay, make sure that the curriculum is working. We work with the faculty in the School of Trades under Molly's area. They worked with the people from the unions and the trades to look at the curriculum that they have. We are using that curriculum in the training program, and the faculty have agreed, when the timing is right, to use that curriculum as well, and we've gotten approval from the trades to be able to use their curriculum.
Okay, well then, it sounds like you're on the right track and you're working on it. I'd just like to see us seek opportunities where we can increase these FTES numbers. It sounds like they're doing a lot of advertising for us, and perhaps we can, the next level could be the credit level courses, and it'll help boost our students' ability and capability and placement in the construction jobs and industry and other industries. That's all I have. Thank you for the presentation.
Thank you, Trustee Zia. Trustee Malauulu.
Thank you very much. I will do my best to keep this brief. First of all, Molly and Brennan, I just would like to thank you for what I think is a really thorough report. I can appreciate the work that you do. I was involved in career technical education at the high school level before it was called career technical education. And one of the hardships that I had is very similar, that what you're finding is trying to establish an end goal to the curriculum. And we, at the high school level, taught a lot of shop classes, but there was no certificate, there was no end goal, and it was very frustrating for teachers. And I know that probably what I'm about to say might not be very popular, especially because I consider myself a teacher, but many teachers taught a particular subject for years and years and years, and the student would leave the class and that was it. There was no tracking, there was no data, there was nothing to follow up to see what became of that. And of course it's high school, so it's hard to do. So I personally am happy with the direction that LBCC is taking as far as making sure that our classes and the curriculum we teach is aligned to a certificate. I think that's the best way to go. It might not be welcome or popular initially, but once you start seeing the proof with students having actual tangible training and certificates where they can get jobs, you know, I think that that'll be worthwhile, more so for our students in the long term. Also, I just want to, I have spoken with a lot of students in some of our career technical classes, and I've spoken to some of the instructors, and it seems that the frustration is equal. It seems that the classes that are being cut is a problem. It also seems that a lot of times they feel like they're not being heard. And I just would like to encourage you to invite a more welcoming table and have a more welcoming atmosphere when some of these decisions are made, because I believe that some of your best ideas will come from within. And when I look at some of these numbers, and I'm really happy that journalism qualifies as a CTE. I know that that was in the works for a long time. But when I look at these numbers, that program has dwindled. What is the college doing to support recruiting? What's the college doing to ensure that we're at the high schools recruiting, that we're in the community recruiting? And our students, you know, we're not limited to a certain age population. We can go into different age groups. And where's Miles? Poor Miles. I always put you on the spot, don't I? Just last week, I was at a community meeting and I was texting Miles. I actually met students who are, you know, more senior, more adult age, who I think would be great candidates for some of our programs. What is the college doing to recruit them, especially into some of these CTE classes that are not as labor intensive, but we've got the room to fill and they've got the time, and they could use the additional training because they still have to work. So please keep that in mind, and I think Anne-Marie would like to add to that.
Well, I was just going to comment, Trustee Malauulu. One of the things that the college is doing is we have, I'm going to say reinstated, an enrollment management committee. And that is a committee with faculty representation as well as students and management and classified staff. And the current charge of that committee is to develop an enrollment management plan which addresses just about everything that you just mentioned. You know, a good comprehensive enrollment management plan will have the guidelines and principles in there for when and how we cancel classes. It will have the guidelines and principles in there for how we want to grow our programs in a time of growth, as well as looking at retention and marketing and, you know, everything related to enrollment management, you know, even from the beginning of assessment and orientation. So it is something that the campus has been working on. We had a change in co-chairs, and so it's kind of been reinvigorated again this spring. We are hoping that we will have a good draft and are planning on bringing that to the board at the next board meeting on April 25th for the board to see. So it's something that is in the works and that we have really been putting our efforts in so that we can have this document or plan that has gone through all of our planning structurals, you know, with the Enrollment Management Committee. It will then be presented to the College Planning Committee, and then it would be ready for the board as we do with all of the plans on campus.
Perfect, perfect, that's good. And I do have one question on the data that you presented, is how are we using, particularly not just this report, but all of the data, how are we using that to reach students specifically? Are we maybe surveying students? Are we calling them to find out why they didn't continue, if they were enrolled in the fall? Of course, a student whose class was canceled is probably not going to have something positive to say, but the students who maybe are taking a break, is it because of the time that the class is offered? Is it an issue with transportation? how are we using this data to make sure that students come back? Because when a student stops taking a class here and a student has a desire to continue with the education, they will find that class somewhere else. We've lost students to Golden West College because some of our programs were cut. And I want to see that the students stay here and consistently stay here, not just this semester, I got to take next spring off, I'll be back in the fall because the class I want isn't offered. What are we doing to keep our students here? Because the ones who are driven will continue, but we want to make sure they continue here and we don't lose them to another college.
Trustee Malauulu, we did do a survey of the 6,000 students who were enrolled in fall that did not return in the spring. Over 20% of them completed in the fall, so that was excellent news for us to find out that they didn't come back because they finished, so that was good. Some of them said that we didn't offer the classes at the right times, transportation, financial issues, but we are absolutely reaching out. We reached out to all of them immediately when we realized they were not enrolled, to tell them, those that had an ed plan, you've got classes on your ed plan that you haven't enrolled in, registration is open. So we're doing a lot of very targeted emails to students, trying to encourage them to enroll in the classes that are on their education plan, and we get that from counseling and student support services. We're also planning on doing a very robust marketing campaign this summer for CTE, because we must do more CTE to get equivalent or greater funding. That's part of the, as Molly said, it's performance-based funding. If we don't do more, we will get less money. So we're going to do a robust campaign to the community to try to highlight our CTE programs, as you've both suggested. All of you have suggested that we do. We have to figure out, you know, who to target, how to target, what to say, but that's absolutely where we're going to spend a lot of our money, is to get the students attracted, as you said, to LBCC. But I will say the survey results really were positive in the sense that very few students said they left LBCC to go to another community college. And, you know, very few said that our schedule was not, or our calendar was not, the calendar they wanted. So we were worried some students left to start school in January. That wasn't the case, and we had a really good survey results. So we can get that information to you perhaps as part of our board presentation in April as well. But we're absolutely going to be reaching out because we want our numbers to go up and we want our completions to go up.
Thank you. Thank you. Just one last thing. Miles and I have been trying for months to schedule an enrollment event for older adult students, and sometimes we have to just shift our way of thinking. And our College Promise students, the age population of that recent high school graduate, is already being marketed to. They're already being targeted. That 18-year-old coming out of high school is either going to go straight into a four-year college or come here, and I don't think the recruiting effort will yield any different results than if we didn't market to them. But I strongly believe that we can raise our enrollment if we target that middle-age, older adult population, because that group is, they need it, they want it. There are shifts in our workforce, and I think that we offer enough of a diverse education plan where it would be of interest to a lot of people, but they don't know it's happening because they're not getting the mail. You know, a 45, 55-year-old adult is not getting community college mail. So if we amp up our effort to try to recruit a certain age group and to make our programs more appealing to them, and you know, they might have less need for financial aid. They might have less need for transportation. They're already established. We can offer evening classes if they have families. So that has been one of my efforts for months. And hopefully we'll get that date on the calendar. We've been working on it.
Can I comment on that as well? So we have an adult education grant money too. We have $1.7 million to serve the adult community of Long Beach. And that is exactly what you're talking about. So we have a director of adult education. Her name is Stephanie Lewis. And adult education courses would be non-credit, so they would be free. And the intention is to create non-credit certificates that could lead into our credit programs, perhaps tied to workforce development, and the programs offered there. So that is another program that we're working on, and absolutely the state of California wants us to reach out to that population and also to serve them, and serve them in a way that the non-credit courses are free. So the certificates would be free, and that's exactly what we're doing. So if you are indeed trying to reach out to the adult population, I would recommend that we have a conversation with Stephanie Lewis, since she's been our adult ed director. That would absolutely be the first place for us to go. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
We're on it. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.